This is my Codes and Conventions video blog about the codes and conventions of an abstract short film. The codes and conventions of a short film differ wildly depending firstly on what style you're looking at. For example, an abstract piece tends to be completely different in terms of codes and conventions to say a crime drama. An abstract piece can be anything from a time lapse to a stop motion animation. It just kind of has to be slightly different from the norm, I suppose. Stop motion pieces don't have to be abstract. They do come in the form of conventional films such as The Corpse Bride, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and more recently Pirates and an Adventure with Scientists. However, I'm choosing to do an abstract stop motion. The codes and conventions of an abstract stop motion are that they often don't have an obvious storyline, such as this extract from one of my favourite pieces, Christo Furstrom, which is on the screen now. Another one is that anything you can see on your screen doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what you might see next. This obviously differs completely from conventional stop motion films such as the ones I've mentioned earlier. Another subgenre of abstract stop motions are those used for music videos, and it can sometimes be difficult to distinguish between a short film and a music video in this category. But another coding convention of abstract stop motions is that it often has a lyricless piece of music to go with it, whether it's when it's not a music video. The music is generally quite abstract itself, and I'm going to use for this example the same video as I used before. Because of the fact that most stop motions are quite abstract, it's quite difficult to say the exact codes and conventions because they differ so much. The typical lighting codes and conventions of a stop motion can be put into two real categories. There are those that use a white background, making way for a completely consistent lighting effect. These can be animated using pretty much anything as long as you have a large number of them. For example, the Skittles advert on my research page, or the post-it note videos, which will both be on your screen now. Then there is the type that don't really take lighting into consideration. These ones are generally filmed outside where the lighting is extremely unpredictable for obvious reasons, and so they are designed in a way that means the lighting doesn't really matter. For example, the famous Muto videos by a guy called Blue, which is now on screen. With regards to sound again, there are really only two types. There are those that use sound effects according to what is happening on screen. For example, again, the famous Muto videos, which have no music at all, they just have sound effects according to what's happening on screen. The other type are those which use abstract music to fit the video itself, as they have no obvious meaning, which is what we talked about earlier. The camera positioning for this type of video is often very simple. With the types filmed in a real world environment, the camera generally pans around with the action but stays completely parallel to where our attention is focused. And with the types filmed on a blank canvas, the camera is completely stationary the entire time. Editing is very limited, as most of what happens is still image photography trips anyway. The real skill is when it comes to this type of film is using the best photographs and putting them in the right order, creating a sense of continuity. With regards to the style and technique, there are several different types of animation technique within stop motion as a genre. Here are a few examples, or here is an example. There is the realism technique used in Autumn Story chalkboard animation, which is on screen now. Which draws things as realistically as possible, with the possible exception for the kind of size of things.